Hey, dear one, today I want to talk about victim bashing, something that is very typical New Age false light. And I apologize already in case I might go on a little rant, but yeah, I really felt I have to talk about that topic because it is disgusting and annoying what is taking place. Okay. It's been since a few years already that there has been really kind of victim shaming mentality, and it has even been in normal society that you could hear young people mocking each other, even in German. It was yeah, yeah, you victim, yeah, and it was always to bring someone down who isn't powerful and strong enough. Okay, and there are two different angles about that topic, because it is actually true that people have to take back their power. That is really, really important. But that is not going to take place if you bash someone. How empowering is that? And how low someone has to go that a person needs to do that to really bash someone who's already wounded. So it is very, very common, and it had to be common because of the last years, a lot of dark stuff came up, and terrible things have happened always. But the victim has always been alone, and they have always felt shame. It's really, really hard for a person who has been victimized, who has experienced a situation where this person wasn't able to find help or to help themselves, and it's really a very, very terrible experience. And people didn't dare to speak up. So that has just to do with the whole experience, with the feeling of being vulnerable, and that people don't believe you, and all of those experiences that people didn't dare to speak up. But as I said, so much was coming up that they actually started to realize, for example, the whole abuse thing in the Catholic Church, for example. People were realizing they have not been the only one, because to isolate people, to give them the feeling it's all their fault, they are alone, and so it is shameful for them, and they were feeling shameful and guilty. So the victim was already feeling this that something is wrong about them. What is really it's a total inversion, but I spoke about it in other videos, why that is actually the case, seen from an energetic standpoint, that the victim takes on the energies of the victimizer. And so the victim is actually feeling the guilt and shame and all of that the victimizer is refusing or want to get rid of. And so the person who has experienced being in such a position, it is already having to deal with all of the effects may it be physical, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. There are many, many layers to that. And it is really a hard thing to do, to deal with all of that. And then people are really mocked and shamed and blamed for having had those experiences. Actually, whoever does this, the shame is on you. It's not on the side of the victim. It's on the side of the false light, because this is actually very, very typical false light. And the New Age community has done a lot to take truth and twist it around. As I said, it is true that someone who has experienced such a situation, a traumatic situation, needs to take their power back and get back into the position of power themselves. But that can only happen if the person is actually processing what did happen and is feeling safe enough. And by bashing and shaming someone, this person will never be able to process this. This person is never going to feel empowered. And that is why I'm calling out the false light. And I'm calling out all of those New Age teachers and wannabe healers. And I have heard it very, very often from people who call themselves healers, and they are ashamed for every real healer. Because what they don't have real love, and they don't have real compassion. All they can think about is building up their grandiosity and their bank account and taking hundreds of bucks for half an hour of talking with people. And then if a person is complaining, then telling them, yeah, it's all your fault, you have chosen this, you have created this. And it is disgusting what those people are doing. And real healer sees, of course, if the other is still in victim mode. And you may have to address this, but with much compassion and really being really careful. Because what is actually the position of a healer? It is the position of someone who's holding the hand of the other, who is on safe ground, who is helping the other to also reach the safe ground again, and to help them energetically to come back to themselves. And this is not done by taking their money, shaming them, belittling them, and saying it's all your fault. And I have seen that way too often, and that is the reason why I'm quite passionate about it. And because it is keeping people ill and sick. It is keeping people in a position of being powerless. And that is the opposite. It is an inversion of what a true healer and a true teacher would do. And that is the reason why I have to speak up and to bring it really into the awareness. Yeah. Because, yes, it is important coming back into a position of power, but someone who has been traumatized, this experience of being helpless did stick with this person. And it is not coming out of this situation as long as there was not the safe space to process this. And I have made a video called The Safe Space. You might check this out also in case you have to process a situation where you have been victimized. And so it needs really this safe space. And this is actually, it should come from family and friends, but as they are not capable to do that, that is actually the reason why we need professional healers and therapists and people who are doing this in a professional manner. And yeah, people who take advantage of a person in such a situation, they are not therapists, they are not healers, they are shame. And chances are high these persons have been victimized once themselves, and they have chosen the position of the abuser to feed on those who have also been victimized and to go into a position where they boost their own importance and self-worth by taking away even more of those people who are already down. And that is why I'm using those harsh words and say it's a shame, because that is not a position of strength at all. Choosing the side of the abuser, becoming an abuser yourself, and calling you out, that comes from a position of weakness. It's not strength. It's not power. It's being a coward. So, yeah. I know there are also people who play the victim and who enjoy being the victim to just get attention or stuff like that. And of course, we shouldn't waste our time on those people, because again, those people are abusive. They are just abusive in a hidden way because they just want to steal energy the same way like the victim shaming people do. So I have to take a look on my notes to not forget something that is worth mentioning. Yeah, it's been really, it's been strong over the last few years, because over the last few years, people who have experienced abuse, for example, they started to speak up because they actually figured they are not alone and they are not the only ones. So victim shaming is trying to silence those people. And that has nothing to do with love and light. It's the opposite. It's working for the evil and the dark. And yeah, it is at least enabling abuse. So yeah. Victim shaming also happens very often by you deserve this, and you created this, and it's been your bad karma. F you. You have no idea. You have no idea why a soul chose that. You really have no idea. There might be a trillion reasons. A few years ago, I met a Hawaiian kahuna. And it was before I remembered my traumatic experience as a child being sexually abused, but I had a terrible childhood. I knew that before. And when I spoke with that kahuna, you know what she said to me? She looked at me and I think she knew it. What I wasn't aware of, it took me a year. It was a year, yeah, or even a year and a half later that my memories came up. But I think she knew because she looked at me and she said, whatever you went through, it's not been your fault. You chose that to become a teacher and healer yourself because you would have the compassion that is needed. And this is true. This is really, really true. And if you don't have the compassion, don't do that job. If you think this is just a business to boost your importance and to have a big bank account and to feel better about yourself, stop doing this. Stop doing this. A real teacher and a real healer needs compassion and love, not as a word, love and light, namaste, but really, really having these deep experiences and the inner knowing. That is where wisdom and compassion comes from own experience. And you cannot teach that. You have to live through that. And in case you yourself have experienced something traumatic, it was not your fault. It is now your responsibility to find everything that is helpful for you. And everybody who's bringing you down and who's telling you you're not strong enough, you're a victim, or anything like that, it was all your fault, you created this. Go away from those people, stay away from those people. They are just unmasking themselves, that they are not capable of dealing with the situation. And if they are not capable of dealing with the situation, they are not the right ones to talk to. And if you have nobody to talk to, start journaling or recording yourself, or then better have a self-talk. And being on your own is still better than having companions who are actually weakening your position. To have a safe space, please check out the video, and to have someone you can talk to. And in case people are not believing you, there's also a video on my channel why they don't believe you, so you understand also that isn't your fault. If you have had a terrible experience and people are not believing you, that is not your fault. Please check out that video. And it may be that you too have chosen to go through all of that to really have this, to gain this compassion and this strength and this wisdom yourself. How can someone else tell you you've chosen this, or something like that, out of victimhood? Yeah, it is important to really come back to yourself, take back your power, and make sure you are in good company, and that you create the safe space, that you start to process this, and to then find the strength again, and the wisdom and the experience that come with that, because it might have been a dark gift, but I can say I wouldn't be the person I am now without those experiences I have made in the past. And it is also the reason why I'm not afraid of darkness, not at all. And that is also, there are those healers and teachers who say, yeah, darkness isn't real. They will be the first one you can see running. They have no idea. They are totally clueless. Yeah. And darkness is nothing we have to fear. But therefore, you have to go through all of that. And if you went through all of that yourself, and you are then strong enough to no longer be afraid of darkness, and then you would never shame a victim. That wouldn't be possible for someone who really went through darkness themselves, and yeah, who has found the own strength and power, doesn't need to bring other people down, but is using their experience to assist others. Okay. Yeah, that's been my personal rant of the day. But it's been important, I think, to really call it out, because there are so many and they are so loud. And it's just not true. So please take good care and have compassion with yourself and with others. Bye.